Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon, episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, and this is a weird one.
Yeah, it kind of is. And we're a couple of magical people ready to moon prison power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is a part of the Just Enough Trope Network. Today we are talking about episode number 16, Junpaku Doresu no Yume, Usagi Hana Yome ni Naru in Japanese, A Girl's Dream, Usagi Becomes a Bride, the English translation, and the English title, Wedding Day Blues.
Yeah. Hana?
Hana
flower.
Is flower, yeah.
It's like the 4 Japanese words I know. But flower wasn't in the translation, though. Is it something? Is it like
Hana Yome.
Oh, totally different. It'd be like car. Yeah, car. You go police car for police. No, police car means elephant. What?
Yeah, I know. Languages are complicated. Let's just leave it at that for now.
Fine. You know what else is complicated?
What?
These notes. I wrote this a little while ago, and here's what I wrote. Usagi insecure because she's just a moon? What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, is it that she's a satellite and the rest of them are planets? Is that what it was? Because there's Mars, Mercury. I don't think that she ever says anything about that, but I think I was just like, just
philosophizing,
tripping, just letting my mind wander through the cosmos, man.
Sure, yeah.
Like Nephrite. And then I landed on, oh yeah, she's just a satellite, so
she feels.
And then the cat's Luna, though. Is there an Earth? Who's Sailor Earth?
I can't get into that without spoilers, so.
Wow.
We'll cover that at a later time.
You're kind of telling me things without telling me things.
Not exactly.
In negative space. I didn't mean to make a segment out of this, but I'm going to cheat it a little.
Well, you cheated.
Sailor Moon Volume 2 manga fell on the ground, and I picked it up. And when I picked it up, I saw some stuff. It seems like the love triangle between Motoki and Smug Guy and Usagi is a little stronger in the manga.
You're not wrong.
You're the worst. just don't stone face it. Just go Mount Rushmore.
I don't know.
Or do that.
I'm just going to say that whenever I'm reminded that you may not know about
stick
things.
to my diet and stop cheating.
Even manga number 1 is further than we are in the anime, in the manga.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, so.
Because we're on episode 16.
I know.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Are there single pages? Here we go. Here's the third time's a charm. Are there single pages in the manga where it's just like a splash page of the girls fighting Siberian chipmunks? And then it's like, well, those are some crazy adventures that we had. And then we just move on?
It's not
even a lot of this is just made up, huh?
Yeah, a lot of it's filler.
Okay.
They really hit the ground running.
It's weird. It must be not frustrating, but it must be a weird experience. I mean, if it's good, and I would argue that even though I give some of these episodes 2s,
yes,
it's got to be exciting to follow a character that you like and you're seeing them have new adventures.
Yeah.
For the longest, I was a big Shiro Masamune fan, or the other way around, whichever. He's got 2 weird made-up names, so I don't know which one is family and which one is given. And when you see, almost all the anime content is based directly on, the original, Kodansha 6 issues, trade paperback graphic novel in the West.
Right.
You're just seeing that dramatized.
Right.
Until you hit Standalone Complex, but even that is again, just a lot of that stuff remixed into it until they get to like the second part, like the Laughing Man saga. Some of that, most of that's original stuff. And then they do Arise, and that's, again, they're just rebooting a lot of the old stuff. So, but this just like flower monsters, huh? And Siberian chipmunks. so loving it. It's like getting more of your character.
No, I think you're absolutely right about that. And they definitely stretch it out, and your mileage may vary. Like we talked about last episode.
Infinity for this episode.
All right. Well, without further ado, do you want to give a brief synopsis?
Yes. We bring back those chipmunks because this one's nuts. It's time for home ec at Juban Middle School, and the girls are learning how to make darts for dresses, like sewing.
Yes.
I didn't see any boys in that class, which I'm a little uncomfortable with, but maybe that's how they do it in Japan.
Yeah.
Home ec is for girls is sewing, and for guys,
tech. I don't know.
Drinking whiskey and just putting your feet up on the kids. I don't know. The teacher of home ec is Miss Akiyama, Higori Akiyama. She's acting a little weird. My long-standing experience with anime tells me that she is in love because she looks wistful and her cheeks are red. She's engaged, 34 years old and still single. And she just wants to get married in the wedding dress she made herself, says Umino. Umino, you got to get out of the house, buddy. You got to get out there and not just to follow women around.
I know.
Stop it.
Yeah.
And apparently the fiancé might not be perfect, but as Umino says, good enough is good enough. And so she's getting married to this guy. That's not good enough for Usagi. They're all at lunch right now. And this is where she's eating soft serve ice cream. I think that's where you had it mixed up. Yeah. Usagi proclaims that she's aiming for the perfect wedding, and she's going to have it before she turns 25.
Yes.
So we'll see. Meanwhile, at the dress shop, Ms. Akiyama is there, and she runs into Ms. Haruna.
Yes.
Who we haven't seen in a while. Haruna asks her, you're going to sew your own dress, right? How's that going? And I guess Higure can't find the right silk for the dress. And Haruna's like, oh, you better hurry up. I'm meeting my future husband at your reception.
No pressure.
Teachers get wild out of class. Trust me, when those kids are gone. I know a lot of teachers. Watching them from a Ferrari is not Umino, but Nephrite, doing his creep thing. He gets back to his planetarium in the creep house, and he is this time focusing on the star Vega, and he's selected Miss Akiyama as the next victim. No, wait a minute. Is the astrology thing real, or is he just hanging around the main characters and just picking people at random? Like, oh, they met somebody new? If you're a bus driver, don't be too nice to them, because now it's you, buddy.
Right?
So anyway, that's who he's picked. Go figure. Usagi is walking home from school. She passes a wedding, and she's like, oh, it's so romantic. It's so great. And then, like, right outside of the wedding, she sees, it's not really a billboard. It's like a sandwich board for a handmade wedding dress competition.
I know.
Okay, Japan. Okay.
It's a little weird.
You can win a free reception for your wedding if you win this contest. This is predatory advertising. Like, does he know the people at this wedding, or does he just drive around and I hear bells? Get the sandwich board. So anyway, he's advertising that. Usagi has this daydream of herself on her wedding day in the perfect dress, and right by her side is Tuxedo Mask, and on the other side is Motoki Furuhara.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's progressive.
Is it?
It's progressive. Or am I supposed to just assume this is her indecision, that they're not a throuple?
I kind of assumed it was her indecision, or that she just wants them both.
I think if we redid Sailor Moon, because I know we just redid it, maybe we would, maybe that'd be different. Maybe we'd change. Usagi suddenly remembers that she is bad at sewing, so this one's gonna be tough. Yes. But here's Ray. Ray shows up because everybody's boy crazy, and she asks the contest manager, who looks totally on the level. He looks 100% trustworthy. She asks him if she doesn't have a fiance right now, how does this work? And he says, no problem, which is weird.
I know.
Right? He's going to do these every week or every year, right?
But anyway,
he says, if you win, whenever you have your reception, free reception. So that's how we're going to do that. And at the tail end of the scene, we see that Mrs. Akiyama sees the billboard as well. Mm-hmm. We fast forward to the Tsukino household, where Usagi's mother is meeting Rei, who Usagi has brought home. Usagi is upset that mom is feeding Rei the cake that she usually has. Yeah. Her homemade cake, which is from the cake store by the train station.
Yes. I know.
As I was watching this, I was realizing, I think I mentioned last week that this show can do so many things. You can send it so many places.
Yeah.
And if this was just is it Fooly Cooly? That's like the one where it's like, usually in Full Metal Panic we're serious and we're fighting with robots or something, but then let's take all the characters and put them in a high school, and that's like, or is it something else? Anyway, they do this.
Something else. Yeah.
They do this, right?
Yeah.
Or like the 30 seconds of Neon Genesis Evangelion that's an actual like high school show.
Right.
I would watch just a show, no Yoma, or the Yoma or the teachers or something like that. Like I would watch that because they do those beats very well. All the things they did wrong last week, they're doing well this week because the mom's proud of her cake, and then Usagi's like, it's from the gas station or whatever. And then like the mom's like, boom, like hits her with the pan and everything, and she's like, ah. And so yeah, anyway, that's really great.
Yeah, I agree.
And Ray's like, oh, this is really great. You're very domestic. You sew, right? And her mom's like, no, I don't sew. No. So Ray's mad that she's wasted all this time. Luna, always on task, is like, if we've got time to like screw around, like we could probably be fighting monsters as well. Too late. Usagi is off to Ami's to get her help. And Ami's like, oh, I don't plan to get married.
I know.
Are we going to talk about this? Are you okay?
I think she's fine, but...
I'm not saying you don't have to get married, but this is a Japanese cartoon for girls from the 90s.
I know.
We got two of our characters are super pumped about getting married, and it's either... I guess it's progressive, right?
I think so.
That or are you okay?
I think she's okay. I think she is so focused on her studies, she doesn't want to do anything that's going to derail that. And I think I don't know if she wants to be productive and and she's just not boy crazy.
Yeah. Maybe she hasn't met the right boy yet.
Maybe.
Well, Ami agrees to help her. And then she's like, but first we're going to read all these sewing books. So
right.
She's going to help her way. Across town, there's apparently a riot at the fabric store. Everybody's going crazy.
I don't know, yeah.
But Mrs. Akiyama gets her hands on a nice silk for the dress. And right at that moment, Nephrite arrives. And he's like, oh, this is so perfect. It's great. I can see you on your wedding day. And he puts his little Zoro on there, his little sigil.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our thing. Usagi is telling Naru about the contest. And Naru's like, she's a good friend. She's like, this might be too much for you. You might not be able to do this. And I guess they're heading over to Mrs. Akiyama's to get her help. The sewing teacher, first place she should have gone.
Right.
And they see her dorky fiance going up to her apartment. Apparently she's been ignoring him. He knocks on the door and it busts open and she's got a whole new look.
Yes.
She's got a real sexy beatnik vibe. She's got cut off shorts and she's got a button-up shirt, but it's open. It's just tied, in front. Mm-hmm. She's got shaggy hair. Like Don Draper would walk into a manhole if he saw this on the street. Like this is no glasses. That's how we know that she's a different person. Yeah.
Right.
He's got some flowers for her. She doesn't want the flowers. And don't bug her, she says, until the dress is done.
Yes.
And the girls don't seem to get that something's really wrong here. They're just like, well, she's not going to help us. Usagi is just mad that she's joining the contest. She's like, no, I'll never win.
I know.
But Luna's paying attention, and she tells Ami that they need to get Ray. This is where we need to address Usagi and her dumbness.
Oh, okay.
Because immediately Luna gives up on Usagi and just tries to talk some sense into Ami so they can go get the girl that can blast people with fire and figure this out. And I'm realizing something about my Dumb Bunny rating, which I don't want to retire yet, but I want to contextualize it. I think the more characters we add, and I know we're going to add a lot to this.
Yes.
People's emotional range or like their character range has to get not smaller, but more focused. Everybody will be a cog in this machine now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so as long as they can do right by Usagi's dumbness, I'm more okay with it than when she's just broadly kind of stupid and everybody makes fun of her.
Fair.
And that's why we're going to save this one. I'm going to tell you right now it's a 2.
Okay.
Which is very low on the Dumb Bunny scale.
Yeah.
But I'm going to show you how we get there with the rest
Fair.
of my recap.
Okay.
We go to Ray's shrine, and her grandfather is chasing Ray around because apparently she stole the wedding kimono that they rent out for weddings at the shrine.
Yeah.
And the grandpa asks Ami, like, oh, do you want to get married? And she's like, oh, I don't know, maybe someday. And he's like, oh, I'll get married to you. So still lecherous.
Yep.
Looking good.
Still got it.
Back at the Sakino house.
I know exactly what you're talking about before you even say it.
Back at the Sakino house, USAGI HOOD.
I know.
Which is Usagi's ninja thief persona.
Yes.
Is trying to steal her mother's curtains to make the dress out of,
yeah.
but she gets caught, of course, by her mom, and she's like, "No, please, Governor Tsukino, I'll do anything." And like shamisen music is playing the entire time. It's like, dun, 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 dun. It's really great.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
And her mom basically just says, come on, you can't do this. So now everybody has told her, I don't think this is going to be a thing.
Right.
And I think it's interesting that this is all part of like why I think this is good dumbness, because it's entertaining. It leads up to what I'm about to talk about. I should probably talk about it. Anyway, we get to the hall, the meeting hall, the presentation hall,
yes.
or whatever. And the contest is on the next day. And the girls are staking it out. And they decide that Luna's going to send Usagi in as a contestant. But, she didn't finish that dress and she's very sad. And they're like, "You've got your pen.
Yeah.
Just use your pen."
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, I got a pen." Good. That's good payoff.
Yeah, it is.
So she says, "Become a beautiful bride." And she becomes a beautiful bride. It's kind of a weird dress. I don't know what it
is
supposed to be. Because before she was in her fantasy dress that was like, labyrinth, you have no power over me, like, type of dress.
Yeah.
This is like weird. And it's very stylized like a cartoon. I'm not sure what they were going for.
I don't know either.
I'd love, and by love I mean hate, to see the crystal one. She probably looks like a wedding stripper. Any strippers ever dress up like brides? Is that a thing?
That is a question I do not know.
Is there some illicit thing there? Should we get to the end of this?
Maybe we should.
Well, the contest begins, and Ms. A is nowhere to be found. But then suddenly she is, because all the women are lined up on the stage, but then somebody opens the curtains for her.
And she's walking down these stairs.
And she's walking down these, Judy Garland stairs or something like that. And she looks like the White Witch crossed with Princess Mononoke. You know what I mean? She's got a real Narnia meets anime kind of look.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm the best." She hypnotizes the MC. She does a real evil Galadriel thing, women will want to be me and men will want to be with me.
Right.
So the reverse of Austin Powers. She's got everybody hypnotized, but Luna comes out from Usagi's dress and says, "Don't look, Usagi." And Usagi's like, "You don't look. You're under my dress." Which is like, what? We're trying to count the underwear jokes here.
I don't know.
Which is, I don't know.
It was a weird.
But Usagi's kind of plays it off like, yeah, it's not right now. Like, there's no jokes. This is serious. And this is it. The Yoma comes out. Widow is the name of the Yoma. Mm-hmm. And it's a spider lady.
I know.
I'll save it. A gondola flies in. And I don't mean like, I mean like theater flies. Like, it's like let down, from the rafters. Somewhere in the back, there are all these stagehands who have like superheroes and monsters coming up to them and going, "When she says this, you pull on the rope." It's like, "Please let me out of here, please." But anyway, in that gondola is Ray and Ami as Mercury and Venus, or Mars. And they're like, "We're going to give you the thing." And boom. And they've clearly been watching Sailor Moon, because now they've got the lines.
Right.
And so they do a little thing. Usagi is mad about that. But then they transform, and it's a triple transformation. It's a first fully integrated, united transformation.
Yes.
Triple pose at the end. Mm-hmm. Looks great. Immediately, Usagi gets webbed up by the spider.
I know.
So that's okay, though, because we got a Shaban spray, a fire soul. She's just decoying. She's tanking. Mm-hmm. She's tanking for the other two.
Right.
She's got a blaster and a controller. She's the tank.
Right.
And then we get another MTA. Pretty standard. Monster's dead. Everybody wakes up. Mrs. Akiyama becomes Mrs. whatever. Whatever her married name is going to be. I don't think we ever know. Usagi is told that whoever catches the bouquet... ...
And I think Ami is the one who says
they all
that.
Scramble for it, and Ami catches it, and everybody's mad.
Yep.
That was a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, a lot happens in that episode. And yeah, it's emotional all over the place.
I just like the idea of the crew and the stagehands
That's a valid point. I didn't even think about that while I was watching it.
All right, when he says that, you open them. Oh my God, I'll do whatever you say. I'm not even union.
I know.
How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin. Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on this?
Oh, wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so sorry.
What? So on the show, we have several segments that we talk about Japanese culture, and our first one is Kyoro Kyoro Miru, where we talk about, which means curiously looking around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. And for this episode, I thought we would talk about weddings. So there, some weddings that do Shinto services.
That was my first question.
Yeah.
Because like tuxedo, meringue dress, that's pretty Western.
Well, most of them are Western, but so 1 in 6 Japanese ceremonies is Shinto.
But when did they adopt that? They saw Luke and Laura in the early 80s, and they were like, we got to do that.
I think it kind of came about like in the it became way more popular like in the 90s and the 80s.
After Luke and Laura.
Yeah, right. So
can't wait to drop that a third time. That'll be really funny.
All right. So they take place principally at the principal structure at a shrine. And a Shinto priest resides over the ceremony and executes the
traditional ones.
Yes, this is the traditional one.
Okay, so I'm going to keep interrupting you. Sorry,
that's fine.
Because I don't want to be lectured at.
Okay.
So the people who are getting dressed up in tails and white veil, are they Christian? Because there's Christians.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So can you have Christians? Here you go. Can you have people who are not Christians in Japan get a Luke and Laura wedding, and can you have people who are Christians get a traditional wedding because they want to? And can Gene Roddenberry marry his wife in a Shinto ceremony, which is what happened?
Oh God, all these questions overwhelming. I think so. All the Western weddings are more or less Christian weddings, and I think that you can get a Christian wedding even if you are not Christian, because most of the weddings in Japan are the Western style these days.
But that doesn't mean everybody's Christian, though.
No. And that's
plus,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, and there's a church on every corner here. Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of Christians in Japan.
Yeah.
Evangelical, Lutheran, whatever. Sure, Catholic, a lot of Catholics. Mm-hmm. But there's less churches, though.
Yeah.
So are the priests or pastors more booked, or do they have the wedding and then there's an officiant, but it isn't necessarily an ordained minister?
I will get to that.
Oh, this whole time I've been holding you back from the answer.
Well, okay. So since the mid-1990s, Christians' wedding ceremonies have become more popular than the Shinto counterparts.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
Yeah, okay. Even though there are a lot of Catholic churches in Japan, most of the Western weddings are actually Protestant, and very similar to ones in the U.S., except one big difference is when the bride's father gives her away to her future husband, there's usually either shaking of hands or bowing that occurs.
And the wafers are crab flavored.
Stop. So I guess we're just kind of going into westernized weddings for now. You've lost it.
It's the funniest thing I've ever said.
So wedding ceremonies occur largely in wedding halls or hotels.
Okay, that tracks with this episode.
Yeah. A lot of hotels in Japan have chapels, which are primarily used for weddings.
Like Vegas.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
The ceremony.
See, and in that situation, like the Vegas wedding chapel, that guy doesn't have a congregation. He's just empowered to.
He's just working at that chapel or what have you.
Yeah, and he's your witness when you sign.
Right.
Right.
The ceremony is usually followed by a very lavish meal, and the groom and bride usually go through multiple outfit changes.
Oh, really?
And I actually have a really good friend who married a Japanese man in Japan, and their wedding was very similar to this. It was in a hotel chapel, and
no, was this the Luke and Laura or Gene Roddenberry?
Oh, Luke and Laura. It's westernized.
Okay. Wait, so they're not changing traditional costume?
No.
There's 3 or 4 changes with Western clothes?
Yes.
So they come out like formal, then they're like Malibu, then it's like winter?
Well, not quite. And I'll get to it because I have examples from her actual wedding. And in this chapel, there's it's like archways and stuff like that. And there is like a cross. So, I mean, there is some iconography of religious
theater,
stuff,
though.
But yeah,
they're good at that.
Yeah, I know. And she did have 3 different dresses. For her wedding dress, it was a traditional white gown, and then he wore a suit, and he had like some sort of like boutonniere or whatever, and it matched her bouquet, which was like white and purple and pink flowers.
I know how weddings work.
Yeah, okay. For their dinner, he changed his necktie and his boutonniere, but kept the suit. She had a completely different dress. Her favorite color is purple. This dress was purple, and it was like a purple wedding dress.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was super fancy.
Huh.
And then after that, there was an after party. So after the dinner is kind of like a cocktail hour. Uh-huh. And she had like a light blue like silk dress that she wore, and like she had flowers in her hair, and like he changed his boutonniere again. All right,
well, none of this is that weird.
No.
I mean, sometimes the thing is people want to be wearing their wedding costume until they get in the car with the cans on it.
Right.
But I could see somebody going to the reception and being like, okay, now I'm going to get something more comfortable.
Right.
We'll just bag up the wedding dress. The only weird thing is like the purple version of the white wedding dress. It's just like,
I know.
Now that I'm married,
yeah,
let's do it.
Right.
Charcoal-berry purple.
So I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
Okay.
Going back to the Shinto ceremonies just briefly. That's
Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, the priest does purification for the partners as well. Then he introduces their marriage to the kami of the shrine and requests their favor. The couple participate in something called san kudo, in which the groom and bride take 3 tastes apiece from 3 separate cups of sake.
Huh. Like a flight.
Yeah. And the dress is also very different for Shinto ceremonies. You're laughing because you're thinking about Gene Roddenberry.
Cold, medium, hot, right?
I didn't even think about
first
that.
One. This one is too cold. This one's too hot. This one's just right.
This one's just right. I like that. So I guess a la Gene Roddenberry, although I don't know if that I really want to hearken him for this. The groom would wear black hokkamuri jacket with crests on it, and the hakama with the vertical stripe on them. For brides, they would wear a kimono, which is either iro uchika. Oh, sorry, I'm going to say that one more time. Iro uchikake, colorful outer robe, or kurobiki furisode, which means a white and black pattern kimono, which was popular in the Edo period.
Okay.
Or a shiromuki, which was pure white dress, completed with either sunokaku. I'm going to say that one more time. Sunokakushi, an angular headpiece, which translates to mean horn hiding.
Okay.
And wraps around the bride's top knot. Or a watabishi, which is a white cowl or hood.
Funerals and weddings, white.
Yes. Which is kind of interesting. So I wanted to go back to something that Usagi says in the episode that we'll just briefly talk about this stigma around weddings in Japan. There is a Japanese tradition around Christmas where you would order or pick up a Christmas cake to be eaten on Christmas Eve, December 24th. It is similar to the cake that they actually eat in the episode, which is a sponge cake with whipped cream and strawberries with Christmas decorations on top. Huh. And traditionally, women were expected to get married at a very young age. And there was an old saying in Japanese that said, women are like Christmas cake, no good after the 25th. So, in other words, women would be considered to be old maids or undesirable if they weren't married by the time they were 25.
What about a woman's conviction can crack a rock?
I don't think they've heard of that one.
That's what she says in the episode.
Is that what she says?
Yeah, but then she's like, wait a minute, do I have that right? So we never find out what the right thing is, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So
after the 31st, then comes the thirst.
Right. So this is a saying that is not really used that much anymore, but it was, I feel like this episode was referencing that in the 90s. And I've been told, I heard about this when I went to Japan in the early 2000s, and people were like, people are moving away from it. But I still feel like it's something that gets mentioned a lot.
Right.
So I felt the need to share that.
Okay.
And moving on to our next segment, Ichidakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode?
She didn't eat cake.
No. Well, not as much with Bray around, that's for sure. So Usagi and Naru eat soft serve, and she's goofing around and says she's going to get married by the time she's 25, and it dumps on her head. So
right, which is what happens at 26. So we've already talked about soft serve ice cream.
Yes.
So here's a question for you: McDonald's.
Yes.
How many?
A lot.
They like them.
They like them.
Okay.
A lot.
I mean, McDonald's is on the moon, they're everywhere, but. Probably bigger penetration in some countries than others, but Japanese, they just really like McDonald's. We like it here too.
Yeah, I know.
We have that in common.
I actually ate McDonald's when I was over there,
and it's almost perfectly. Just go with me here. It's almost like more Japanese than American sometimes when you think about it. It's got a crap ton of mascots.
Well, that's
they
true.
love that. It's got the uniformity that you would come to expect. I know the menu items are a lot different there than they are here, but yeah, just I don't know.
Yeah, one thing to note: the serving sizes are smaller, just in general. So you get one of the only things that I really liked. I don't know why I still like the vanilla shakes from McDonald's. It's kind of gross, but I would get a small vanilla shake.
What color potato do they taste like?
It's not the purple potatoes.
Okay. Right.
But yeah.
There's probably potato flakes in it or something like that.
God, probably.
Thickener.
I don't know. And then I just wanted to mention the cake again that Rei and Usagi eat. And we learn, I'm not sure if it says it in the episode, but I in the notes about this episode, I learned that Usagi's mom's name is Ikuko.
Oh.
So the cake that they eat, which is kind of similar to the Christmas cake, it's like sponge cake and strawberries and whipped cream. This is something I think you see in Sailor Moon a lot. if you played the game Sailor Drops, they had like pieces of this cake that you had to collect for certain rounds of the basically bejeweled Sailor Moon.
Okay.
So this gets it's a motif you see a lot in Sailor Moon.
You know who we aren't seeing a lot? Beryl and the Dark Kingdom.
That's a good point.
Is Nephrite just he's going off on his own here? This is his own project.
Maybe she's giving him a longer leash than she was giving Jedi at the end because he's got a new way of approaching it.
And maybe the story that we never really got was that he was an angel, or a demon in this case, trying to earn his leathery wings.
Right.
You know, when you see the bad guy, you just expect that they are, you know, a master of all they survey and all this stuff. But maybe he was like literally the most junior gemstone brigade or whatever.
Maybe, yeah.
And he was trying to get in. And so the first season or the first half of this season is just us watching this guy just face plant every time. Against a bunch of girls who face plant when they walk places.
I know.
And so he was just sent into outer darkness or whatever. And it was like, yeah, that's what would happen. Like,
right.
So maybe this guy's like, well, you've proven yourself. You got your creepy house. You go off and you do your little star things.
Well,
just take it.
I mean,
I'm going to listen to my crystal ball. Put a tape in it.
He's so ridiculous. Like, I mean, I don't know that Jedi really like kept a low profile, but Nephrite is none of that. He's got his own creepy house somewhere out in the outskirts of Tokyo. He's got his fancy car. He's got his flashy clothes. He's got his hair down and flowing.
He's the wolf.
Yeah.
He's Winston the Wolf. They call him in to fix the problem.
Right. You got it. Exactly. For our next segment, My Heart is a Kaleidoscope, which we talk about Sailor Moon, their outfits, the fashion. And there's a lot of stuff going on in this episode. I want to talk about Akiyama Sensei and Haruna Sensei's outfits when they're like shopping. They're kind of ridiculous. Like, so Akiyama Sensei is wearing an orange blouse, I think with like a little flower pin, and then like a long yellow skirt and a yellow belt. And Haruna Sensei is wearing like this lime green suit with like yellow accents.
Yeah, they get wild.
It's like, what are you guys doing? Yeah, and then there are so many wedding dresses in this episode.
Yeah.
We get the one where Usagi is daydreaming, and it's like you said, it's kind of a labyrinth number, but there's like way more roses on it. Like there's a giant rose on her chest, and then there's like roses around like her belt area, and it's like pink and purple, very flowery. And later on, we get her outfit that she changes into with the pen, which you said it's kind of weird. It is. It's got a lot of flowiness to it. It kind of.
But it's got like these weird. It's got on her bust. It's got like this weird, like accent. Like
yeah.
It's got like weird, like orangey pink highlights and stuff like that.
There's like some purple in there too, and then like her sleeve, it's like flower petals. Like it's just like a lot of details.
Yeah, it just looks like if somebody in an 80s sitcom, if the daughter of the family met an avant-garde designer and then was going to get married, and her dress designer got intestinal parasites, and so they had to turn to Leon, the European avant-garde designer, and everything else is there's 18 other plots. There's so many plates in the air,
right?
But when she finally gets to the altar, she's wearing like this. It's so chic, you know, and people are like, "What?" That's what it reminds me of. That specific thing,
right? Very specific.
Could be growing pains. Probably family ties. Mallory's getting together with Nick, and this is the dress she wanted, and it goes with she wears high tops with it.
Oh, of course, because she's got to be edgy,
right?
Yes. And then of course we also get Akiyama Sensei's outfit while she's making her wedding dress.
Yeah.
Which, oh my god, like racy for Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like
the accomplishment in my mind was the difference. They spend so much time.
Yes.
We don't see Akiyama all that much.
No.
But the couple times we see her, they establish we get this character, we get who it is. Then we see her again, clothes totally different, similar but shifted color palette to let us know that it's her still.
Mm-hmm.
But such a difference that you immediately, a character with literally like 4 lines in the show, that you are sold on that switch right away and you understand what's happening.
Absolutely.
It's still not a good plan.
No, it's not.
So was the guy with the sandwich board, is he working for Nephrite too? Because if this works, they got to do this again, right? Next week.
Right, yeah. No, that's a valid point. I don't think so. I think that was like outside of, it's like another thing outside of this.
200 people die at wedding dress contest.
I know.
It's going to be hard to throw another wedding dress contest.
That is true. But her outfit is either it's a black crop top or a sports bra.
Yeah.
And then like a lime green shirt that's tied at the waist. And then like
blouse.
a blouse. And either purple underwear or Spanx or something. And then like she's got like a mullet. Like a female mullet
it's just
going
a shag.
on. Yeah. And then like you said, no glasses because hot now.
Yeah. What do you want?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I do want to also mention Usagi's sneaking around disguise, where she has Usagi the kid, where she's the thief. So handkerchiefs tied underneath the nose in Japan is called hokkamuri, and it's a thief mask.
Right.
It is utilized for comedic effect, and of course, actual thieves do not use them. But it's meant to hide their face.
I know, but it works so well because it's basically backwards, right? It's backwards and upside down. If you turned it around, it would be the typical American cowboy bandana, but it is sticking up from the back of their head, and then the tie is in front of their nose and doesn't really like hide anything. Like it's perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I just wanted to mention really briefly Akiyama-san's wedding dress when she's possessed. I think you described it really well. It's purple. It's got huge sleeves. She's got feathers, kind of like a weird little crown thing going on too. And and then at the end, she's wearing her dress that she actually made. And it's like puff sleeves and then yellow flowers in her hair and a yellow flower on her dress too. Huh. Moving on to Villain Gauge, our segment where we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The bad guy in this, the Yoma's name is Widow. And it's most likely named that after the Black Widow spider, but may also be a kind of like a play on words, like with wedding dresses and those who lose their husbands are widows. I'm not sure. But also the wedding dress is made of silk, and spiders make their web structure out of spider silk.
Web structure?
What are you
doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where are you going? I can't follow.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to come up with multiple reasons why her name might be Widow.
Because she's a spider. One.
Okay. I think
terrible.
That's fair. I know.
And I'm going to do it because I think this is going to happen a couple times. But a couple episodes ago, I talked about an artist whose designed characters are always in full black bodysuits because he's a great artist, but maybe not a great creator of new characters. That artist is John Romita Jr. Sorry. What an accomplishment. One of my favorite artists, but I hate when he makes new characters because they always show up in full black bodysuits because I don't think that he cares to give them a cool costume. When you spend that much time drawing Spider-Man, you have to draw every single web on his body. It must be infuriating. So it's like, give me that Sharpie. We're done. That's kind of what happened here. Like, it's a lady with a spider butt, and she's all in black, and she's got like a bowl cut or like a page boy. She looks awful.
Yeah. And her hair is blue for some reason. And her body that is not black is red. I don't know. It's just kind of a reddish orange. It's just kind of a dumb design, I think.
Big pass.
I'm giving her 2, but maybe that's too nice.
Well, be nice.
Too nice.
The world needs more niceness, but 1.
All right. So our wrap up, and when we rate the episode, 1 to 5 roses, 5 being the most awesome. I thought there were some good moments in this, but the bad guy is such a no-go for me. So I gave it 3 roses.
I like this one.
Yeah?
I think there's a lot going on.
Yep.
I complained last week about these kind of one-offs, and there's good ones and there's bad ones. But I think this is a better one than usual. And for a episode that's literally about weddings and who you're going to spend your life with,
right?
The love triangle does not move forward like at all.
That's a good point.
Does Tuxedo Rose show up?
I don't think Tuxedo Mask shows
he's not
up
even.
at all.
Or Tuxedo Mask, he's not even in it. So
I don't think he does. Yeah.
Tuxedo Mask isn't even in it. So that's all fine and good. It's not necessarily, although the absence of Tuxedo Mask is strange.
Agreed.
But there's so many just little bits in it. This is more than the sum of its parts, I think. Or maybe it's the parts are more than the sum.
Okay.
I mean, look, any episode that's got USAGI HOOD is just going to do it for me. So I'm giving it 4.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
My English title for this one is Usagi, Wedding Day Thief. Look out! Your death may happen.
Your death may happen. Goodbye, Earth. That was my favorite Dragon Ball spoiler title. It's like they get to the end of it. It's like, oh boy, how are we going to stop Majin Buu from destroying the Earth? But next episode, boo, 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 boo. Goodbye, Earth. It's like, well, I guess they don't stop him, but I'll watch the episode anyway. My cheesy Viz title is Just Murdered.
Wow.
That's way too good. So I have to do another one.
Okay.
What was theirs? Wedding Day Blues?
Yes.
What about like Wedding Day Bells? Or are they doing a thing? I'm giving it too much credit.
I think you are giving it too much credit.
In sickness and in death. Do you no, not that. Oh boy, okay. I'm psyching myself
this.
out now. Just Murdered was.
Yeah, I think
it's on the back of the car.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Webbing Day Blues.
Oh wow! I think you topped yourself there.
Top them. Mission accomplished.
Awesome. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 17. Madoru wa Usagi, Yoma Kamera no Nesha in Japanese. Usagi's a model, the flash of the monster camera, the English translation, and the English title, Shutterbugged. I know.
Tell me it gets better, because I can see this episode in my mind. I already know what happens.
Right. I know.
Oh, if you're binge watching these, you'll find out if I'm right in about 2 minutes. There's a guy that's a photojournalist, and Nephrite infects his camera with a Yoma, and now his camera makes, what's it make people do? They get sucked into it. That's probably a little elaborate for Sailor Moon, but let's say they get sucked into it until they're trapped, but they have to find a way to stop the Yoma, get everybody out of the camera. Shutterbugs. Does it get better? Because I
don't know if the English titles get better.
I went 2 and then I went 4, but the monsters went 2 then 1.
I know.
So I'm starting to bottom out again. The last time I said that I was bottoming out, it immediately got better. So hopefully it's going to get better.
I hope it does get better.
Me too.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job with the Mount Rushmore face, though. You're not telling me anything. All right, bring it home.
Well, that's our show for this week. In the name of the moon, we'll be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Goodbye, Earth.